All right, St. Louis. I'd like to say good morning, St. Louis. It's a little early this morning. It's 6:37 here in Florida. You know, St. Louis, I believe there's so much we don't know. And the question we must begin to ask ourselves, why come we don't know? Why come we don't know what happened before the Big Bang, which they consider to be the singularity? What happened when everything was literally equilibrium? Everything was going in an opposite direction in which it's traveling right now. Why is that? Many physicists and cosmologists and those that consider themselves to be intellectuals don't really know, because they can't perceive beyond that level of truth. So we unfortunately have stopped, and not necessarily stopped, we're going in the direction of decay. In other words, if you're born to a beautiful mother and father, and after about 60 years of your life, or 70, your mother and father are no longer here, their parents are no longer here, then the cycle continues. It continues as it did when you were born. Nothing changes. Your son, your daughter's born. They have children. They're born. They have children. They're born. But no one has came to the realization of what is actually going on. Why are we just born to die? Is it possible that we have the potential to stop time as we know time? In other words, I equate time with the laws of thermodynamics. Entropy, time increases, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. You got a life expectancy of probably 80 to 90 years. And if you're living that long, chances are you're going to have cataract, you're going to lose your teeth, you got partials, you got dentures, you lost all your hair, you have tumors starting to display itself, you got all kinds of infirmities, you got the nursing home to take care of those that are in that condition, and you got the graveyard thereafter to take care of those that have perished from the condition. Then you have those that are younger, 7, 8, 9, 20, 22, 23, that are being killed before those that are in the nursing home. Why is that? I'm one to believe that all are dwelling inside a system that's enclosed. That system is after they call the Big Bang, which occurred supposedly 13.8 billion years ago. However, I'm one to believe they're not smart enough to know that the reason we're perishing is because the mind itself has to produce the Big Bang. In other words, if you're dying every day, subsequently you work, you have a family, you buy a house, you buy the essential things that you need, you love and kiss your little grandbabies, and eventually you don't know your grandbabies' names, nor do you know how to drive because you can't coordinate what is going on. I mean, don't get discouraged and upset based upon what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to figure out, why are we perishing? I believe, many of you might say, oh, Walter's, he's into this belief. I believe when you reach a higher level of cognition and awareness, you literally stop the entropy. And as a result of stopping the decay, meaning the time, you're able to see, because the noise around you, the electrons that are bouncing and causing that negative energy, are frozen. So as a result, the negative energy can't affect you. Being that it doesn't affect you, you're now bringing space at absolute negative 273.15 Celsius down to earth, but yet you fail to realize all is in your mind. It's like picture frames. It's like You got shutter speed. Depending upon the strength of the camera is going to determine how many frames it can shoot within a certain period of time. So depending on how many frames you see is going to determine, or how many frames there is going to determine how much you see. So if you're dying every day, there's a limit to what you're capable of seeing because you can't see the full picture because you're decaying. So that tells me that in order for us to be able to know that we didn't know, we must strengthen in mind. Otherwise, you're not going to know there's something to see because you do not have the mind power to know. You can't perceive it. So in other words, they can't perceive what happened 13.8 billion years ago because they don't have the mind power. They're going in an opposite direction. It's like you have a AA battery, but it's losing power every day. And eventually the battery is discarded and placed in the trash, no different than you going into the grave. But technically there is no grave. Everything is being encoded by your mind. But yet we don't have the ability to come to the understanding that that's what's going on because you lack the power. You never reach the maximum power to know that you are literally trying to find yourself. So we came up with deities, false gods that are not gods. And the reason we came up with false gods and deities is because the mind, as it gets older, or shall I say decay more, it starts to go to sleep. So as a result, it can't extrapolate at the level in which you need to extrapolate in order to understand the things you need to understand in order to know where it's going. Subsequently, it now take the position that the direction in which it's headed is heaven, but yet it failed to realize it never stopped time. The time is not tomorrow, the time is today. I'm going to work feverishly hard for us to come to the realization to understand that we never understood. Stay tuned. It's a new sheriff in town, damn it. And I don't play the radio. It's time. We're going to fight for our grandbabies, for our children, for our loved ones. Trust me, we're not going to continue to lay down and just die and wither away just like a plant that hadn't been watered. It's time to take that mountain. Stay tuned. God bless you all and get you to understand I'm in it to win it. God bless.